Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Elbarrio. My name is Ralph Hernandez, and thank you so much for watching this morning. This morning, my guest is Superintendent Dr. James A. Williams, who has been talking to us for the last 15 to 20 minutes about the state of the district and some of the things that are happening in our Buffalo Public Schools. And before the break, Dr. Williams, we talked a little bit about the Race to the Top money. I know you have, it's a welcome thing to be able to say that the money could be coming to Buffalo, $70 million to the state, and some of that money coming into the city of Buffalo. But you have some reservations about the criteria that's required in order for you to be able to tap into that money once it gets here.
Yes. There are 4 categories that the state identified that you must use for the consistently low-performing schools. One is remove the principal and 50% of the staff. And my question to the state is, where are we going to send 50% of the staff?
Right.
What criteria do we use to remove 50% of the staff? And what criteria do we use to remove the principal? Because we have not put a criteria in place. Right. This was something they just put out there.
Yeah, how do you determine which one stays and which 50% goes? Correct.
The second criteria is charter school. Now, one problem we have a $1.4 billion construction project, and we have finished about 35 of our schools fully renovated, and the other 17, 18 schools have been approved. If you talk about changing the renovated schools and giving them away, you have to reimburse the state the money you put in there. Right. The third is called turnaround model, where you go out and hire a company to come in to
like Edison or
address the issues, and the fourth is transformation, where you work within the system to deal with that. I think we can look at part of all 4 of them, but then there's a caveat. If this is in violation of any collective bargaining agreement, you have to negotiate. Right. And we've had good conversation with Mr. Remore and Mrs. Barton about discussing how we want to do this. And my staff is in Albany, meeting with the people in Albany about the funding aspect of it and our responsibility. And the next week or 10 days, we're going to sit down with the unions and talk about what model is good for Buffalo that we can use to improve the schools. Now, I think one model that worked, this model that we got the schools off the earliest. Why can't we build on that and continue to grow from there, and which I think is the right way to go, because we've shown some progress with that model, but they're not interested in that.
Well, and you mentioned Phil Remore, the president of the Buffalo Teachers Federation. There was a trip, we took a trip last week to New York City, and tell us a little bit about the relationship with you and Phil now and the dialogue out in New York City.
Well, first I applaud NEA, the National Education Association. They invited the superintendents, board presidents, and union presidents to a meeting in New York City, and I represented Buffalo, you represented the Board of Education, and Mr. Remore was there. And first I thought it was a brilliant idea getting us all together to talk about collaboration. And we spent a lot of time together, the 3 of us, talking about collaboration, and listen to others from around the country about how they're working together and things that they want to do. And I think just spending the time, the 3 of us, was good for the system and good for us. So, and we left there feeling pretty good. And I think it's going to go a long way as far as our working relationship with the collective bargaining unit.
Right. Now, when we went there with the primary purpose of learning about what they're calling school improvement grants, which is a totally different budget than the Race to the Top money. What are your thoughts on the criteria for that money?
Well, it's the same criteria.
Okay.
Same criteria. They identified 7 schools. We have South Park High School, Bennett, Lafayette, Riverside, and Burgard at the high school level. And then we have 2 pre-K 8 buildings, Martin Luther King and School 45. Those are the 7 schools. Now, what criteria they use to identify those schools, I don't know. But what they're saying, each one of those schools can receive up to $2 million per school per year for 3 years. Now, here's the challenging issue. We have a $35 million deficit. So you have 7 schools from the 55 that you're going to put $14 million in over 3 years, but you're going to have 48 schools over here where you will have to lay people off possibly and cutting programs. That doesn't make sense to me. That makes too much sense to me. So I just think this administration and the plans coming out of Washington, there are no plans. I do not think the structure that they're giving us the money is the right structure. Now, we need more money, but it should be invested in early childhood education. Give us these kids at 4 years of age, and it should be in smaller classes, longer school day, longer school year, and money to increase the salaries of teachers who fit into an evaluation model to make sure we have the best before our students.